She knows what she's doing. I'd like to say she's got a nice smile, Letitia James, but I feel like she knows what she's doing. Every time she beats Trump, again, the smile gets a little more, I don't know, devious in the best way. Update: grand jury declines to re-indict Letitia James. There it is. 2 weeks ago, federal judge dismissed the indictments against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James. Yesterday, it was back before that grand jury, and they said, nope, you can give us a ham sandwich. We're not going to indict it. They declined to re-indict her after a judge, as we said, dismissed the first case. Is she in the clear? Grand jury declined to indict Letitia James Thursday, according to a source familiar with the decision, a decision that came less than 2 weeks after a judge ruled a similar mortgage fraud case brought by federal prosecutors against the New York Attorney General was unlawful. The move by the Justice Department to present the case again to a grand jury, this Pam Bondi, is there any inflection that she can kind of bury in her voice every time she's in front of the cameras? And Mr. Trump, and we're going to do this, and it's going to happen. Oh, it's just so annoying. You keep losing. She just keeps losing and looking like a fool. They're determined to prosecute James, who's been on Donald Trump's top political foes ever since she successfully brought that fraud lawsuit against him in New York. Art of the steal. That was kind of creepy the way she said it, but I liked it. This isn't the art of the deal, it's the art of the steal. And she won, even if things got, watered down a bit. James was first charged in October with 1 count of bank fraud, 1 count of making a false statement to a financial institution. Charges are in connection to a mortgage she obtained for a home in Norfolk, Virginia, 2020. Prosecutors say James got a more favorable rate on the mortgage because she indicated it would be a second home when she actually wound up renting it out to others. Difference in rate saved her about $18,933 over the life of the loan. James's niece lives in the home and reportedly told a federal grand jury earlier this year she didn't pay rent. That's something my niece would do. Love you. I mean, what are you going to do? That's what nieces do. They're entitled and you let them get away with it, but you're not getting rich off of them. James had said she did nothing wrong. She argued that the prosecutor who handled it, Lindsay Halligan, very daft, she didn't graduate at the top of the class, I'll put it like that, was unlawfully appointed U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia. Halligan, former White House aide, Trump ally, personally presented the case to the original grand jury that indicted James. I wonder if she walked out of it saying, I did that. U.S. District Federal Judge Cameron McGowan Curry agreed with lawyers for James and Comey last month, said Halligan had been unlawfully holding her post. U.S. attorneys must be confirmed by the U.S. Senate. Do your job. But they can serve in an acting capacity for 120 days. Once that period expires, the judges of the district the prosecutor serves in must decide who serves as the top prosecutor. Siebert had already exceeded the 120-day mark. District judges had chosen to extend his appointment. Once he left, Curry concluded Trump could not simply appoint someone else to fill the role. Aside from the appointment issues, experts said the criminal case filed against James in October appeared very thin. The amount she benefited over the type of the loan was so small, it would not typically merit prosecution, former prosecutors said. And then remember, career prosecutors who worked on the case concluded there just was not enough evidence to charge James and have since been fired. This should be the end of this case, James's attorney, Abby Lowell, said in a statement on Thursday. If they continue, undeterred by a court ruling and a grand jury's rejection of the charges, it will be a shocking assault on the rule of law and a devastating blow to the integrity of our justice system. I mean, that's a hell of a statement by Abby Lowell, but given the times and the things that we've seen, I'm not sure it will be. It'll just be another day in America. It wouldn't surprise me a bit. Let's remind you of the ruling. The judge found President Donald Trump's appointment of the interim U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan in Alexandria, Virginia, was invalid. The Attorney General's attempt to install Ms. Halligan as interim U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia was invalid. Judge Cameron McGowan Curry wrote in her Monday order. Trump personally selected Halligan. Only the best people. Look at this glamour shot. For the role amid increasing pressure to prosecute his political enemies, including both Comey and James. And instead of telling him to stick it, she said, all right, I can do the job. Do I get a personal account for glam? That was sexist, and I shouldn't have said it. But that's just the vibe I get from her, Jackson. And I'm not saying that you can't be pretty and glammed up, and that's all subjective anyway. But she's just so irritating. I guess what bothers me is when I look at her photo and I view her actions that strain credulity, right? I see someone who absolutely believes she deserves to be where she is. And I know otherwise.
I think that she just kind of is taking whatever opportunity will come her way, and right now she's riding high with Trump. At the end of the day, though, I think it's good that throughout Trump's term, what we've seen is, whether it's grand juries or federal judges
Mhm.
who won't all completely bend over backwards for Donald Trump and what he wants, because it's very obvious that this is just about the fact that Letitia James won a case against Donald Trump, and it's not even like it was a super difficult case. Like Donald Trump's fraud is so blatant and so loud. It's not like people had to go looking with magnifying glasses real hard because he's sloppy. And he lost the case. And Donald Trump's always losing court cases. That ain't the first case he's lost. He's always losing cases because he's guilty. He had to pay $25 million out for that Trump University scam that he ran, and that's just one. He's always in court with something because he's a fraud. So it's definitely good for the country's sake that everybody isn't on board with his authoritarianism. It's good to see his popularity continue to sink, along with the actions that he takes. But yeah, John Bolton was in Trump's administration because his mustache made him look like a serious military guy. Now that's how Donald Trump operates. So Halligan she's there because she's a pretty blonde white woman who would, look great on some TV show. That's why Alina Habba was there, and look at the job she did, as if there aren't pretty women who are good at their jobs. But,
Thank you.
Trump doesn't think that deeply.
Thank you for cleaning that up. That's really actually what I wanted to say. But it's so comforting when you remind us as I get all worked up. My thumb is healing, by the way. I didn't believe you even
Good.
asked me about it, Jackson. I almost sliced it
I didn't
off and
want
you
to
never said a
interrupt the
word.
show. You know what I'm saying?
It's
That's all it
almost
is.
healed. It happened. I was unscrewing a mason jar. Some delicious crab chowder
You
I
cut
made.
yourself?
Yeah, I did. And
Oh.
then I put this crude little, I changed it. I put some wound spray on it and stuff. It's fine. Look, it's so comforting when you remind us that you can get riled up if you want, but the biggest ding against Trump is Trump. He's losing constantly. And so that saves us from I'm not saying that he's not a chaotic guy who is hurting people. He is. But Jackson's right. His number one asset, the thing that he will always win at, is losing. He's,
Yeah.
it's right. He's winning at losing. I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, like on the one hand, like it seems like Trump gets away with everything. He gets away with a lot, but he doesn't get away with everything. He never really has. If it weren't for 70 plus million Americans who, felt that for whatever reason he would be a good go, he would be in prison right now. That's the truth. If he did not win this election, he would be in prison because he tried to overthrow the election. Got him on recording telling people to find him votes. Just rig it up, just jimmy it up. Like, this isn't difficult. So unfortunately, people in positions of high society don't necessarily go down in full, But yeah, Trump gets in trouble a lot, in fact.
It's true. I'm thinking about this when you mentioned he was caught on the recording. I'm thinking of the one mobster who dressed beautifully, and that's finally took him down. Remember, he was Teflon Don in New York.
Um
He ruled everything.
John Gotti.
Gotti.
Yeah.
I love watching old mobster, just the whole chronicling of, what went down there. And that's what finally got him. Sammy the Bull turned on him, but also was they had tapes and then somebody authenticated him, and that was it. Trump, well, Jackson's right. 70 million Americans were the jury, and they decided he can stay.